Hello, good day classmates, and good day might as well to our instructor in understanding the self, Mom Margine Cago. So, I am Janna May Arante, and I will be the reporter for today's topic. So, I will take a look at my PowerPoint presentation while you have to take a look at this side of me because I am going to paste here my slideshow. So, are we good? Okay, so our topic for today is all about the self from various philosophical perspectives. So before extracting out what's really inside the various philosophical perspectives of the self, let us know first what is philosophy. Do you have any idea regarding philosophy? Okay, so philosophy is the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially in an academic discipline. So philosophy is also a particular theory that someone has about to live or how to deal with a particular situation. So it's not only in history that we are going to learn about theories, but also here in understanding the self. So, academic discipline concerns with investigating the nature of significance of ordinary and scientific beliefs. So, upon this topic, we are going to investigate. We are going to know the ordinary and scientific beliefs and what are their differences. So next, philosophy also investigates the legitimacy of concepts by rational argument concerning their implications, relationships, as well as reality, knowledge, and moral judgment. So, we are going to investigate how legit, how exact the concepts through rational argument. Okay, so much of philosophy concerns with the fundamental nature of self. So when we talk about philosophy, it has something to do with the nature of the self. So we are going to know more about that one. So the Greeks were the ones who seriously questioned myths and moved away from them to understand reality and respond to perennial questions of curiosity, including the question of the self. So the Greeks, so they were really the aggressive people who broke down the myths and moved into reality through their theory. So we are going to learn more about that one. So, the following are discussions of different perspectives and understanding of the self according to its prime movers, from philosophers of the ancient times to the contemporary period. We are going to tackle that one by one. Okay. So, the Pre-Socrates, Thales, Pythagoras, Parmenides, Heraclitus, Empedocles, etc. were concerned with answering such questions. What is the world really made up of? Secondly, why is the world the way it is? So they began to ask questions beyond self. So what explains the changes that happened around us? So these are the questions formulated by these pre-Socratic theologians. So, the Pre-Socratics, let us discuss. So, arche, it is the origin or source, the soul, the primal matter. So, ang yung origin and source is the soul. Then, the soul's movement is the ultimate arche of all other movement. So, these are the theories formed in the pre-Socratic era. So, arche has no origin outside itself and cannot be destroyed. Next, explains the multiplicity of things in the world. So, it's all about arche. So, do you agree that there is difference between body and the soul? So, these are the questions pertaining to self. Do you think you have both? Do you think we have both body and soul? So, what is the difference between having body and having soul? What is the difference between the two? What is body and what is soul? Could we live without both or could we live without one? So let us learn more about that one. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher. So as I've said earlier, Greeks were the ones who are aggressive in breaking down the myth and moved into reality, and that includes Socrates. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher, one of the three greatest figures of the ancient period of Western philosophy. So, the others were Plato and Aristotle, who lived in Athens in the 5th century before Christ era. So, Socrates, he was really known for his theories. So, next. Socrates' theories are concerned with the problem of the self. So, he is asking about the problems of the self. Next, the true task of the philosopher is to know oneself. So if you are a philosopher, your task is to know more about yourself or about one's self. The unexamined life is not worth living. So according to Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. And I think he has that point, because if you're not going to examine your life, then it's not worth it. Next, underwent a trial for corrupting the minds of the youth. So he went through a trial. So these are Socratic theories. Succeeded and made people think about who they are. So it is stated here at the last portion that Socrates have succeeded in making people think about who they are. And I think that also influenced me today, because I am thinking about who I am. I am brainstorming more about myself. I am discovering more about itself, and to know that it is also it was one of Socrates' theories. So the worst thing that can happen to anyone is to live but die inside. Take a look, hugot ni Socrates. So every person is dualistic, according to Socrates. Man is equals to body plus soul. So according to Socrates, you are a man if you have a body and a soul. So without body but having a soul, you're not a person. But having body but no soul, you are not a person. So for Socrates, man is equals to body plus soul. So if you have body and if you have soul, then you are a man. So, individual is equal to imperfect or permanent body plus perfect and permanent soul. Soul. So, an individual was a result of an imperfect body and perfect soul, or a permanent body and a permanent soul. That is Socrates' theory, okay? So you cannot call someone an individual if he or she do not have an imperfect body and perfect soul, or permanent body and permanent soul. So, next. So those are Socrates' theory, to Socratic theories. So you are a man if you have body and soul, and an individual should have a perfect, again, what was that? Perfect or permanent soul and imperfect and permanent body. So that is Socratic theory. Next, let's talk about Plato. Plato was a philosopher during the 5th century before Christ era. So he was a student of Socrates. So imagine Plato was a student of Socrates. I just came to know that one. He was a student of Socrates and later taught Aristotle. So he founded the academy, an academic program which many consider to be the first Western university. So Plato wrote many philosophical texts, at least 25. So at least 25. So many philosophical texts pala ang nagawa ni Plato. So Plato, according to Plato, these are his theories. 3 components to the soul. First, we have rational soul, reason and intellect to govern affairs. Second is spirited soul. Emotion should be kept at bay. Third is appetitive soul, or base desires like food, drink, sleep, sexual needs, and etc. So, according to Plato, we have 3 components of the soul. We have rational soul, we have spirited soul, we have appetitive soul. Next is also, that theory was the very known theory of Plato. So next, what happens to a person whose 3 components of the soul are imbalanced? So this is a question regarding Plato's theory. What if you do not have a rational soul? So it means you cannot govern affair. And what does it mean when you didn't have a spirited soul? Your emotions are not kept well. And what if you don't have an appetitive soul? You do not have base desires. So these three souls, according to Plato, should be balanced. So next, Augustine of Hippo, AD, Anno Domini man ata yung AD, 354 to 430, was an Algerian Roman philosopher, a theologian of the late Roman or early medieval period. He is one of the most important early figures in the development of Western Christianity. Yes, he was Saint Augustine, and was a major figure in bringing Christianity to dominance in the previously pagan Roman Empire. So this Saint Augustine really had a lot of contributions, not only to philosophy but also to Christianity. Saint Augustine's theories include spirit man in medieval philosophy. Follows the view of Plato. He follows the view of Plato. What is Plato's view again? So it's all about the three components of the soul, but Saint Augustine is different in a way that he adds Christianity. And man is of a bifurcated nature. Also, part of man dwells in the world, imperfect, and yearns to be with the divine. So, as we can see, Saint Augustine really adds on the religion belief. So, other part is capable of reaching immortality. According to him, body dies in the earth. So we die here in the earth, but soul lives eternally in spiritual bliss with God. So, from St. Augustine pala yung theory na to, nung philosophy na to, that our body will live or will die here on earth, but our soul will continue the race. Will continue living, but together with the spiritual bliss of God. So, he believes in the soul. He believes in the three components of soul by Plato, but he adds on Christianity. He adds on the belief of the religion, which is Roman Catholicism. So, that is St. Augustine's theory. Next, do you believe in the concepts of the soul coming to heaven after death? So, do you believe that one, classmates? So, for mostly or basically, it was been taught at the churches that after death, after we die here on earth, our soul will go in a voyage to heaven. But I know we have been believing this for years, and I do not have any exact evidence to prove this one, but I believe in life after death. So there is still a voyage of the spirit after death. Okay, so that is about Saint Augustine's theory. Next is Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas was an Italian Dominican friar, philosopher, Catholic priest, and doctor of the church. Okay, so an immensely influential philosopher, theologian, and jurist in the tradition of scholasticism. He is also known within the latter as the Doctor of Angelicus, the Doctor Communis, and the Doctor Universalis. So let us learn more about Thomas Aquinas' theories. Saint Thomas Aquinas. According to him, man is equals to matter plus form. So different from the first philosophers that we've tackled. So according to him, man is equal to matter plus form. So it's somewhat like science. So next is matter. Ryle is equals to common stuff that makes up everything in the universe. So form, morphe, essence of a substance or thing, what makes it what it is. So he believes in matter. He also believes in form. That's why man, for Saint Thomas Aquinas, was matter plus form. So the body of the human is similar to animals or objects, but what makes a human is his essence. Wow, so Saint Thomas Aquinas also have a point. According to him, the body of human is similar to animals. Yes, our body is similar to animals, but they are of different form because they are animals. It really can distinguish between man and animals. But what makes human is his essence. Yes, we have essence. We have high intellect than of animals. So his theory for me is somewhat like very convincing. So according to him, might as well, the soul is what makes us humans. Yes, very well said. Because humans commonly have soul. Each of us have soul, and that makes us humans. That is our essence as human being. Okay, so that is the theory of Saint Thomas Aquinas. According to him, man is equal to matter plus form, and we have the same. We are same with animals, but however we differ in our essence. For man has soul. For men have soul. Okay, next, let's move on to our modern philosophy. Who are the modern philosophers of this era? So, René Descartes. Oh, René Descartes, he was very known at math because he was the one who formulated the Cartesian plane. So, René Descartes has been heralded as the first modern philosopher. So, who was the first modern philosopher? It was René Descartes. So, he is famous for having made an important connection between geometry, as I've said earlier, he was really good at math, and algebra, which allowed for the solving of geometrical problems by way of algebraic equations. So, René Descartes has a love for math, but he's implying it also to philosophical views. So, next, René Descartes. René Descartes was the father of modern philosophy, for he is the first philosopher in the modern age. So, according to him, human person is equals to body plus mind. So, he has some similarities with the previous philosophers we've tackled. According to him, there is so much that we should doubt. Yes, that's true. Yes, that philosophy was transferred, what was also emitted up to this age, up to our recent age. And yes, according to him, there are still more that we should doubt about this life. So next, if something is so clear and lucid as not to be doubted, that's the only time I should believe. So René Descartes keep on exploring more about self, exploring more about world, because he finds it there are no vivid or clear evidences about life that we should stop brainstorming about it. So according to René Descartes, since we do not have yet questions to all of our queries and answers, we should seek for more answers. We should think, and we should still find for the answers to our questions. As long as we still have questions, then we have to brainstorm for its answer. So that is René Descartes' philosophy. The only thing one can't doubt is existence for the self. So according to him, the only thing that we should not doubt is the existence of the self, because self really existed. But what's more in self is something that we should think of. It's something that we should still analyze and brainstorm. So according also to René Descartes, he believed in the saying, I think, therefore I am. Next, the self is equal to cogito, the thing that thinks, plus extensa, or extension of mind and body. So, different from other philosophers, no? He think of the self as cogito, the thing that thinks, and extensa, or extension of mind and body. According also to René Descartes, the body is a machine attached to the mind. Okay, so our body is a machine attached to our mind. So our mind would emit actions, then our body will do the actions. So our body is just the machine of the mind, according to René Descartes. It's the mind that makes the man. So without mind, then we are not man, according to René Descartes. It's the mind. It's the central of a person, the mind. So he also believes that I am thinking thing, a thing that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, refuses, imagines, and perceives. So those are the philosophical views of René Descartes. So next, do you agree with the statement about the self, body, and soul so far? Do you agree with the statements of René Descartes about body and soul? So what seems to be questionable in their conjectures? So for you, classmates, do you have any questions? What are the questionable things about their conjectures? So about that stuff, we are going to brainstorm it through proceeding to the next slides. So next philosopher, we have David Hume. David Hume, born in May 7 or April 26 at the Old Style, 1711 in Edinburgh, Scotland. Died on August 25, 1776 in Edinburgh. Scottish philosopher, historian, economist, and essayist, known especially for his philosophical empiricism and skepticism. So Hume conceived of philosophy as the inductive, experimental science of human nature. So he was very known for his philosophical empiricism and skepticism. So let us learn more about David Hume. Okay, so David Hume disagrees with all the other aforementioned philosophers. So he disagrees with René Descartes, he disagrees with Socrates, Aristotle, Plato. So he has his own theory, he has his own philosophical views. So according to him, one can only know what comes from the senses and experiences. So he is an empiricist. So we are only the ones who are responsible for knowing our senses and experiences according to David Hume, and we are empiricists. So the self is not entity beyond the physical body. Okay? So you know that other people are humans not because you have seen their soul, but because you see them, hear them, feel them, etc. Yes, the previous classmates, the previous philosophers believe that we are humans because we have soul, right? But according to David Hume, people are humans not because we have soul, but not because people have seen our soul, not because we have seen our soul, but because we can hear people speaking, we can see them, and we can feel them. And by these factors, David Hume believed that we are human if we have these factors with us. So he did not believe that humans are humans because we have soul, but because we have sight. We can see people, we can hear people, and we can feel people. So, according also to David Hume, the self is nothing but a bundle of impressions and ideas. So, do you believe in that, everyone? So, impression, basic objects of our experience, sensation, forms the core of our thoughts. So, according to David Hume, our self is nothing but a bundle of impressions and ideas. So, if you do not have impressions, if you do not have ideas, then you are not a human. So, according to David Hume, might as well, as humans, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of impressions about us. And impressions are the formation of our core thoughts. Idea, copies of impressions, not as real as impressions, or feeling mo lang yun. So according to David Hume, impressions are the core of our thoughts, but ideas are not as real as impressions. But of course, ideas and impressions are what make us people, according to the philosophical views of David Hume. So next, self. According to David Hume still, self is a collection of different perceptions which rapidly succeed each other. Self in a perpetual flux and movement. We want to believe that there is a unified, coherent self, soul, mind, etc. But actually, it is just a combination of experiences. So, according to previous philosophers also, that we have a coherent self if we have soul, mind, body, and etc. But David Hume believed that our self is just a combination of experiences. So we have this self because we have combinations of experiences. So David Hume disagrees with the other philosophers aforementioned, such as Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, René Descartes, Saint Augustine, or the other philosophers before him. But he accepts self as something that has a lot, that is a combination of experiences, ideas, thoughts, and impressions. So that is David Hume and his philosophical views. Next, we have Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher and one of the foremost thinkers of the Enlightenment. His comprehensive and systematic work in epistemology, the theory of knowledge, ethics, and aesthetics greatly influenced all subsequently philosophy, especially the various schools of Kantianism and idealism. So let us learn more about Immanuel Kant and his philosophical views. So Immanuel Kant agrees with Hume, that everything starts with perception or sensation of impressions. So he agreed with you might as well that our body is not only, our self is not only made up of body and soul, but also our impressions and ideas. So there is a mind that regulates all these impressions. Time, space, etc. are ideas that one cannot find in the world but are built in our minds. So apparatus of the mind. He also believed that apparatus of the mind. He also believed in the apparatus of the mind. So the self organizes different impressions that one gets in relation to his own existence. We need active intelligence to synthesize all knowledge and experiences. The self is not only personality but also the seat of knowledge. So he agrees with Hume that self starts with perceptions and ideas, and I also believe that self is not only about personality but also a set of knowledge. So we are a set of knowledge. So those are the philosophical views by Immanuel Kant. And how do you feel about the discussion so far? So we can see that there are philosophers who are somewhat alike with their philosophical views and theories, and we can see might as well the philosophers who disagrees with the other one and philosophers who agree with the opposite theories of the other philosophers. You are quite confused, are you, classmates? But these philosophers aforementioned and their philosophers really contributed to what are our views today about self. That's why we keep on digging from their philosophers to learn more about ourselves. So how do you feel about the discussion so far? Are you feeling really dizzy? Are you feeling weird because of different philosophical views of these philosophers? Well, we still have a lot, so let's proceed. So we have Gilbert Ryle. He was a British philosopher, principally known for his critique of Cartesian dualism. Okay, so for which he coined the phrase "ghost in the machine." He was a representative of the generation of British ordinary language philosophers who shared Ludwig Wittgenstein's approach to philosophical problems. So this is Gilbert Ryle. And let us learn about his philosophical views. So Gilbert Ryle denies the internal, non-physical self. So he denies soul, because soul is the internal, non-physical self. So Gilbert Ryle did not believe in the internal, non-physical self. So therefore he did not believe in soul. What truly matters is the behavior that a person manifests in his day-to-day life. So if your behavior is somewhat like a person, and if you are doing the behaviors of a human being, then you are a person. That is yourself, according to Gilbert Ryle. Looking for the self is like entering LU and looking the university. Yes, according to Gilbert Ryle, it really takes a lot of time to look for ourselves. Next, the self is not entity one can locate. So we cannot locate self like how we locate people and analyze, but simply the convenient name that we use to refer to the behaviors that we make. So you are self when the behaviors you make are what makes you a person. So if you do things that are made by usual people, so you are a person and that is yourself. You are a human. But if you are something that crawl, that barks, then that is yourself. You are not a human. You are animal. You are an animal. So according to Gilbert Ryle, it's not about soul that makes us human, but the behavior that we make that makes us human. So if you behave like a dog, then you are not a human. You are an animal. But if you behave like a person, then that is yourself and you are considered as human. That is according to Gilbert Ryle. So Marie-Jeanne Jacques Merleau-Ponty was a French phenomenological philosopher strongly influenced by Edmond Husserl and Martin Heidegger. The constitution of meaning in human experience was his main interest, and he wrote on perception, art, politics, religion, psychology, psychoanalysis, language, nature, and history. So let us learn more about Merleau-Ponty. Merleau-Ponty. He is a phenomenologist who says the mind-body bifurcation is an invalid problem. Mind and body are inseparable. So according to Ponty, mind and body are inseparable. So you cannot separate mind to your body. If your mind is separated, then your body cannot function and you are not on yourself. You are not a person. So one's body is his opening toward his existence to the world. So you exist because you have a body. The living body, his thoughts, emotions, and experiences are all in one. Are all one. Kasi na somewhat believe with Ponty. Because if you do not have thoughts, if you do not have emotions, and if you do not have experiences, then that is not yourself as a human. You may be considered as animal or other things. And, okay. So, as per the summary of our report, let us move back to the philosophers and their philosophies. From Socrates, he's concerned with the problem of the self, and he believes that a man is equals to the body and soul. So that is the philosophy of Socrates. Next is Plato. Plato is very popular for his three components of the soul, which is the rational soul, the spirited soul, and the appetitive soul. Next is Saint Augustine of Hippo, and he believes that according to him, body dies in the earth, but soul lives eternally in spiritual bliss with God. So he accepts the theory of Plato, but adds on spiritual, religious beliefs in it. Next is Saint Thomas Aquinas. He believes that man is equals to matter plus 4. And the modern philosophers such as René Descartes, he is the father of modern philosophy, and he believes that a human person is equals to body and his mind. Next, we have David Hume. He disagrees with all the theories by the philosophers, and he believes that only one can know what comes from the senses and experiences. So you are the person, you are responsible of knowing what comes to your senses and experiences, not your soul and your body, according to David Hume. Next is Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant believed that there is a mind that regulates all impressions. So he believed with Hume that the body is composed of impressions and ideas. However, the mind regulates these impressions, according to Immanuel Kant. Next is Gilbert Ryle. He believes that he denies the internal non-physical self, but accepts body and mind. So he denies soul, but he accepts body and mind. Next is Merleau-Ponty. According to him, mind and body are inseparable. So if you have mind, then you are supposed to have your own body. If you don't have mind and if you don't have body, then you are not considered as a person. Next, do you have any questions regarding the topic we have today? If you have any questions, if you have any questions, kindly message me for the queries, or you can chat at our Understanding the Self group chat for me to entertain your questions, everyone. And that's all for my report. I hope you grab something that fuels your mind. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And for the next reporters, we will also try to perceive something from them. But I hope that you've learned something today. And that's all. Thank you.